Welcome to the Revenge Diary.
They say family is everything, that blood is thicker than water, that your siblings will always have your back, no matter what. Well, I'm here to tell you that sometimes family will watch you bleed on the kitchen floor and choose a lie over the truth. My name is Thalia, and this is the story of how my brother's fiancé tried to destroy me, and how I made sure she destroyed herself instead. Before we dive into this story, I want to know, what time is it where you're watching this? Drop a comment and let me know. I'm always curious about whether you're listening to this during your morning coffee, your lunch break, or maybe late at night when you can't sleep. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button because we share stories like this every day. Now, let's get into it. Growing up in Olympia, Washington, my brother Ryan and I were inseparable. Picture this. A cozy two-story craftsman house with creaky wooden floors, the smell of my mom's banana bread wafting from the kitchen, and two kids who genuinely thought the world revolved around Saturday morning cartoons and bike rides down Ruston Way. Ryan was only 2 years older than me, but he acted like my personal bodyguard. When Tommy Fletcher pushed me off the swings in 3rd grade, Ryan marched right up to him and said, "Touch my sister again, and you'll deal with me." I was so proud of him that day. We had our traditions. Every Halloween, we'd spend hours carving pumpkins on the front porch while our parents argued about politics inside. Every Christmas morning, we'd sneak downstairs at 5 a.m. to peek at presents, whispering so we wouldn't wake Mom and Dad. When our parents fought, which happened more than I care to remember, we'd build pillow forts in Ryan's room and tell each other stories until the yelling stopped. I thought that bond would last forever. I thought wrong. Everything changed in 2021 when Ryan met Hannah Cartwright. She was a nursing student, beautiful, smart, with this perfectly curated Instagram feed that made her life look like a magazine spread. The kind of woman who never had a hair out of place, never said the wrong thing, never seemed to struggle with anything. At first, I wanted to like her. I really did. When Ryan brought her to our family barbecue that summer, she arrived with homemade potato salad and compliments for everyone. She told my mom her garden was absolutely stunning, helped my dad set up the outdoor speakers, and laughed at all of Ryan's terrible jokes. But something felt off. It was the little things. The way she never laughed at anyone else's humor, only Ryan's. How she'd make these perfectly timed, cutting remarks disguised as compliments. Like when I wore my glasses to dinner one night and she said, "Oh, Thalia, you have such cute librarian energy. So authentic." Or how I'd mysteriously get left out of group texts about weekend plans. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," she'd say later. "I thought Ryan added you." But Hannah's real genius was in how she twisted every interaction. When I'd try to share childhood memories with Ryan, she'd later tell him I was trying to make her feel left out. When I'd decline her overly sweet invitations to girls' nights, she'd report back to Ryan that I was being cold and unwelcoming. The worst part, she made it look like she was trying so hard to bond with me. "I just don't know what I'm doing wrong," she'd tell Ryan with tears in her eyes. "I keep trying to connect with Thalia, but she seems to really dislike me." Every time I brought my real concerns to Ryan, he'd already been poisoned against me. "You're being sensitive," he'd say, but now there was an edge to his voice. "Hannah's been trying so hard with you and you just shut her down." Or my personal favorite, "She's worried you don't approve of her. Why can't you just give her a chance?" The distance between Ryan and me grew with each conversation. Hannah had successfully painted me as the jealous, difficult sister who couldn't accept his happiness. By 2023, our relationship had changed completely. We still talked, but the easy closeness we'd always shared was gone. Our conversations became surface level, work updates, family news, polite small talk. The deep bond we'd had since childhood felt strained and artificial, but I still tried to communicate as much as I can. But the damage didn't stop there. Ryan had started reporting back to our parents too, sharing Hannah's version of events. "Thalia's being really difficult about Hannah," he'd tell them. "She won't even try to get along with her." By the time that the incident happened, my parents already had a clear picture in their minds. I was the problem child who couldn't accept her brother's happiness. Hannah was the sweet, patient woman trying her best to fit into our family despite my unreasonable hostility. Looking back, I should have seen the manipulation for what it was. But when someone you love starts believing lies about you, It's easier to just back away a little than keep fighting for the truth. I tried to keep the peace because I loved my brother and wanted him to be happy. Looking back, that was my first mistake. Fast forward to October 14th, 2024, a Sunday that would change my life forever. My parents were hosting an engagement dinner for Ryan and Hannah at our family home. The same house where Ryan and I had grown up, now decorated with too many family photos and equipped with my dad's pride and joy. A ring security system he'd installed after someone stole packages from our porch in 2022. Best investment I ever made, Dad would tell anyone who'd listen. He'd even added indoor cameras after a plumbing leak flooded the kitchen the year before. You never know when you'll need evidence of something, he'd joke. If only he knew how right he was. The dinner was supposed to be a celebration of Ryan and Hannah's engagement. Hannah's parents, Ezekiel and Victoria Cartwright, had driven up from Portland. Ezekiel was a successful orthodontist, the kind of man who spoke in measured sentences and evaluated everything through the lens of social status. Victoria worked in real estate and had this way of making every conversation sound like a business pitch. Hannah's younger sister Sophia was there too, along with Ryan's college roommate Marcus and about 10 other friends and family members. The dining room was packed, candles flickering on the table, soft jazz playing in the background, my dad's idea of sophisticated ambience. I arrived with a bottle of red wine and genuine hope that maybe, just maybe, Hannah would try to be civil for one night. Throughout dinner, I watched her perform. And make no mistake, it was a performance. She charmed Ezekiel and Victoria with stories about her nursing career, made Ryan's friends laugh with perfectly timed anecdotes, complimented my mother's cooking with just the right amount of enthusiasm. But I caught the moments others missed. The way her smile never reached her eyes when she looked at me. How she'd subtly redirect conversations away from me whenever I tried to contribute. The almost imperceptible eye roll when Dad told an embarrassing story about Ryan and me as kids. Still, the evening was going smoothly. People were laughing, toasting the happy couple, pretending we were all one big, blended family. Then came dessert time. After dinner, most people drifted outside to the back patio for drinks and fresh air. Hannah's parents were deep in conversation with mine about wedding venues, while Sophia was showing Marcus something on her phone. The mood was relaxed, celebratory. I went inside to help bring out dessert, Mom's famous apple pie and vanilla ice cream. Simple, innocent, helpful daughter behavior. That's when Hannah cornered me in the kitchen. We were alone for the first time all evening, and her sweet facade dropped like a mask hitting the floor. "You need to stop," she said, her voice cold and sharp. Gone was the syrupy sweetness she'd been pouring on all night. "Stop inserting yourself into Ryan's life. He's not your little sidekick anymore." I blinked, caught off guard. "What are you talking about? You know exactly what I'm talking about." She stepped closer, and I could see something dangerous in her eyes. The constant texting, the inside jokes, the way you monopolize conversations about his childhood. You're pathetic, Thalia, he's moved on from you. My heart started racing. "Hannah, I don't know what you think. I think you're a clingy little sister who can't accept that Ryan doesn't need you anymore." Her voice was getting louder, more aggressive. "And I'm sick of pretending otherwise." I tried to step back, but I was already against the counter. "You're being ridiculous. Ryan and I are just close." That's when she shoved me. Hard. My hip caught the edge of the kitchen island. My ribs slammed into the granite countertop. Pain exploded through my torso as I hit the tile floor, and I swear I saw stars. The metallic taste of blood filled my mouth. For a moment, everything went dark. When I came to, probably only seconds later, I could hear Hannah yelling. "She slipped. Somebody help." She lost her balance reaching for something on the counter. The kitchen suddenly filled with people. Ryan burst through the door first, his face pale with panic. My parents were right behind him, followed by Ezekiel Cartwright, who immediately switched into medical mode despite being a dentist, not a doctor. "Don't move her," he said, kneeling beside me. "She might have hit her head." My mom gasped when she saw the blood trickling from my mouth. My dad just stood there, frozen, like he couldn't process what he was seeing. And Hannah. Hannah was the picture of concerned innocence. "I tried to catch her," she said, her voice shaking with what sounded like genuine distress. "But she went down so fast. I think she was reaching for something on the top shelf." As they helped me sit up against the kitchen island, still dizzy and tasting blood, I looked directly at my parents and said what actually happened. She pushed me. Hannah shoved me into the counter. The room went dead silent for a moment. Then Hannah's face crumpled into tears. "I would never," she gasped. "I was trying to help her reach something." "Why would she say that?" Ryan immediately rushed to Hannah's defense. "You hit your head pretty hard. You're confused." "I'm not confused," I said, my voice getting stronger despite the pain. "She cornered me in here, told me to stop inserting myself in your life, and then she pushed me." My dad looked uncomfortable, glancing between me and the dinner guests who were all staring. "Thalia, let's not. She pushed me," I repeated, looking right at my mother. "Mom, she deliberately pushed me into the counter." My mom's face went pale, but then she looked at Hannah, who was now sobbing into Ryan's chest, and then at all their guests watching this scene unfold. "Honey, you're hurt and upset," she said quietly. "Let's just focus on getting you checked out." Then Ryan, my brother, my best friend, my childhood protector, looked down at me lying on the kitchen floor and said the words that broke my heart. "She's always been clumsy, and she's always dramatic about getting hurt. Now she's making up stories because she's embarrassed." He didn't ask if I was okay. He didn't consider for even a second that I might be telling the truth. He just stood there, calling me a liar to protect his precious fiancé. The other guests shuffled awkwardly around us. Marcus looked genuinely concerned, but didn't say anything. Sophia appeared worried but stayed quiet, following her family's lead. Everyone else just seemed uncomfortable with this inconvenient accusation disrupting their perfect evening. And my parents. They chose their side right there in front of everyone. They helped me up, Dad got me an ice pack, Mom handed me tissues, but they treated me like a problem to be managed, not a daughter to be protected. I didn't argue further. I didn't make a scene. I didn't keep insisting on the truth when it was clear no one wanted to hear it. I just left and drove myself to Providence St. Peter Hospital. The ER doctor, a tired-looking woman named Dr. Grace, examined me with the kind of thoroughness that comes from seeing too many accidents that aren't really accidents. "Mild concussion," she said, shining a light in my eyes. "2 cracked ribs, significant bruising along your cheekbone and torso." She paused, studying my chart. "These injuries are consistent with blunt force trauma. Are you sure you just fell?" I told everyone what really happened, I said, my voice hollow. But nobody believed me. From my hospital bed, I texted my mom. "I told you the truth. Hannah pushed me. Do you believe me now?" Her response came an hour later and cut deeper than any physical wound. "Honey, you've been so difficult about Hannah from the beginning. These things can be confusing when you're hurt. Let's just focus on getting you better and maybe work on being more welcoming to her." Then my dad chimed in. "Your brother is really upset. He says you've never given Hannah a fair chance and now this. We just want peace in the family." Take sides? I told them I was assaulted, in their house, at their dinner party, while they stood 10 feet away. I looked them in the eye and told them exactly what happened. But they'd already been convinced I was the problem. In their minds, this was just another example of me being difficult about Hannah, taken to an extreme because I was hurt and embarrassed about falling. When I got back to my apartment the next day, bruised and bandaged, I sat in my living room trying to process what had happened. That's when I remembered something important, those Ring cameras my dad was so proud of. The kitchen camera. The one he'd installed after the plumbing incident, the one he'd shown me how to access when I house sat last summer. I still had the account credentials. My hands were shaking as I logged into the app and scrolled back to October 14th, 7:43 p.m. There it was, crystal clear, high-definition footage of Hannah Cartwright shoving me into the kitchen counter. No accident, no slip, no reaching for anything on a high shelf, just pure, calculated violence. I downloaded the video and contacted a criminal defense attorney who specialized in assault cases. 2 weeks later, on October 30th, 2024, Hannah Cartwright was formally charged with assault in the second degree. Her attorney tried to argue it was an accident, that the video was somehow misleading or taken out of context. But security footage doesn't lie, and it doesn't have an agenda. The consequences began immediately. Their wedding venue, a historic estate in Woodinville, backed out of their contract, citing their reputation protection clause. $12,000, gone, non-refundable. The hospital where Hannah had just finished her nursing residency put her on administrative leave. Her entire career went into limbo. When the charges became public, Victoria Cartwright called my mother in a panic. According to Mom, who told me this much later, Victoria was mortified about the misunderstanding and kept insisting that Hannah would never hurt a fly. Ezekiel, meanwhile, was reportedly furious, not at Hannah for assaulting me, but at Ryan for letting it get this far and not controlling the situation better. Ryan and Hannah had to call over 40 people to cancel their February wedding. A week after the charges hit the court record, I received an unexpected call that changed everything. A woman named Kelsey, Hannah's former roommate from nursing school, had found me on Facebook. What she told me was chilling. "What she did to you wasn't new," Kelsey said, her voice quiet and serious. "Back in nursing school, she assaulted another student during an argument about clinical rotations. But Jade, the victim, was too scared to press charges. She didn't want to ruin someone's career." Hannah had a pattern. She was a bully who relied on charm and intimidation to get away with violence. But I wasn't scared of standing up to a bully with receipts. Kelsey agreed to work with the state nursing board to file a sworn affidavit about Hannah's history of aggressive behavior. As the legal walls closed in, Ryan finally tried to reach out. First, a voicemail. "Thalia, you didn't have to take it this far. We could have worked this out as a family." Then a text. "I didn't know she actually pushed you. The video, I saw the video." Finally, "Please just talk to me. I know I messed up." But I didn't respond. Not because I hate him, I don't. I still love my brother, I probably always will. But there's a crucial difference between love and access. He made his choice when he stood in that kitchen and called me dramatic while I was bleeding on the floor. My mom and dad also called. "We saw the video, Thalia, we didn't know what to do that night. There were so many people watching, and I didn't want to break the family apart." "You mean you didn't want to embarrass Hannah in front of her parents?" I said. "That's not fair." "Fair?" I cut them off. "I told you exactly what happened. I looked you in the eye, bleeding and hurt, and told you the truth, and you chose to believe her instead." The silence stretched between us. Sorry," they finally whispered. "We should have believed you." For the first time since that night in the kitchen, I heard genuine remorse in their voice. Not defensiveness, not excuses, just a parents who finally understood they had failed their daughter. "I know," I said quietly, "but I need time to process this. I need to heal first." "Whatever time you need," Mom said. "We'll be here when you're ready. We want to do better, Thalia. We want to earn back your trust." It wasn't forgiveness yet. That would take much longer. But it was the first crack in the wall that Hannah's manipulation had built around my family. And sometimes, that's where healing begins. This all happened in the fall of 2024, but the healing, both physical and emotional, has been a journey. Hannah now has a criminal record. Her nursing license is under review and will likely be revoked. Her wedding is off. Her reputation is destroyed. The Cartwright family has had to deal with the embarrassment and social fallout in their Portland circles. As for my family, well, sometimes it takes a crisis to show people who they really are and who they want to become. Almost 2 months after the incident, Ryan showed up at my apartment. Not with excuses or justifications, but with genuine remorse. He'd been in therapy, he said, learning about manipulation and how he'd been used as a weapon against his own sister. "I failed you," he said, tears in his eyes. "I should have protected you, and instead I became part of what hurt you. I don't expect forgiveness, but I want you to know that I see it now. I see what she did to both of us." It wasn't immediate, but slowly, carefully, we began rebuilding our relationship. It's different now, maybe better in some ways. We both know what it's like to lose each other, and neither of us wants to take that bond for granted again. The legal proceedings concluded in early 2025, with Hannah pleading guilty to assault charges. She's required to complete anger management and community service. Her nursing career is over, but hopefully she'll find a way to become a better person. Today, we're all still healing. Some family bonds are like bones. When they break and heal properly, they can actually become stronger than before. My relationship with my parents isn't the same as it was. There's still hurt there. That time is slowly mending. But there's also a new honesty between us. We don't pretend difficult conversations don't need to happen anymore. Ryan and I meet for coffee every few weeks now. We talk about real things, not just surface-level updates. He's dating someone new, a teacher named April who thinks our sibling bond is beautiful, not threatening. Sometimes she'll even encourage him to call me when he's dealing with something difficult. And me, I sleep just fine. I didn't scream. I didn't post about it on social media. I didn't beg my brother to believe me. I didn't try to convince my parents to choose sides. I just stood up for the truth and let the consequences unfold naturally. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to hit that like button. And here's a question for you. Have you ever had to choose between keeping the peace and standing up for the truth? What did you choose and how did it turn out? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to share this video and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got more incredible stories of standing up for yourself coming your way. Thank you for listening to my story. Until next time.